long time ago in a galaxy not so far away.
Well, welcome to another episode of In a Galaxy Not So Far Away, everybody. It is confirmed that is the name of the podcast. I know, like, in the very first episode, it was like, is it going to be? But it has been confirmed.
Yeah, it's been posted, so now it's confirmed.
Yeah, it's been posted. We got the Instagram page. We got, like, it's everywhere. Go follow it. You have to be, actually, because this is episode 4. We've just recorded these pretty far in advance. Anyways. That was possibly the worst intro to a podcast in the entire world. So, as you probably know by now, I'm Cody Smith, and I am joined virtually by Brendan Long.
Hello. I am here.
Yep. And in this episode of In a Galaxy Not So Far Away, we will be talking about Star Wars, The Clone Wars, which is the animated series, and we will be talking about season 1.
Yes, indeed.
So I guess just to start off, give us your opening thoughts on this, Brendan.
I mean, I really enjoyed it. I went completely blind into this. I've never watched any of these other than maybe like, on Teletoon when I was high in university one time. Do you know what I mean? So like, I have no prior existing thoughts on it or anything. And coming into it completely fresh was super exciting, super fun. I honestly really enjoyed this first season. The first few episodes, I was a little concerned because, like, it felt really little kiddish. Do you know what I mean? Like, just kind of immature. But then,
I know what you mean.
Yeah, and the animation was a little choppy in the first few episodes. But then I found, like, around episode 4 to 5, the animation started getting better. The themes started getting a little bit more, mature, which I appreciated. But it still didn't lose, like, any of its, I don't know, like, fun charm or like its humor or anything. No, I overall I quite enjoyed it.
Yeah, what about you? No, I would definitely agree with, like, everything you said there. I'm in a similar boat. I haven't watched this before. I've watched none of them. I mean, I watching certain episodes, I'm probably like you. I probably flipped onto it if it was on TV in my, like, late teens or something, and maybe have seen a couple of episodes, but I was never, like, drawn into it. Yeah, and, like, so this was mostly with all fresh eyes as well, but I definitely agree. Like, the first couple episodes, it takes a bit to get going. It's kind of like random adventures at first, which I, like, appreciate in a way. But there's no, like, real cohesive story, it seems like. And then, like, as you get further into season 1, it seems like they have story arcs, I guess, that go over, like, 3 or 4 episodes instead of just, like, each episode being its own kind of, like, story and tying up by the end of the episode. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. And I was actually going to bring that up and talk about that because, like, that's, I wished that there would have been kind of like an overarching story throughout the whole season, but maybe that just wasn't within the scope of this for them or something. I don't know. I wish that there would have been because, I like episodic shows, but when there's kind of that overarching story, it keeps you a little bit more engaged with the whole thing, I find. But I did like these little mini 2 to 3 arcs, or 3 to 4 episode arcs. Like, I did enjoy them for sure.
Yeah, I would agree, and I don't know because I haven't seen any of the later seasons of, like, the Clone Wars, so maybe later seasons do a better job at that. But it is kind of like, The Mandalorian, where it is standalone adventures that are over by the end of the episode, but that leads up to the greater thing at the end, and then the season is resolved, right?
Yeah, 100%.
So that's kind of what I'm looking for, and yes, I feel like this season of the Clone Wars kind of fell short on that a little bit.
Yeah, I would agree totally. I mean, it was fun to watch, and, like, the little mini arcs were awesome, but and I guess you could say that there is kind of an overarching story just with the relationship between Ahsoka, Anakin, and everybody else, right? But that was about it, really. I wish there was something.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I would also agree with you on like the animation style. I found some points I would be watching, and if it was like a still frame, I'd be like, holy shit, this is so cool. But anytime it like zoomed out and it showed a lot of movement, it was like, oh fuck, this is really bad animation. You know what I mean?
100%. Yeah, totally agree. And I found that it did get better near the end. Like, I found the final sort of 5 to 6 episodes, I had no complaints about the animation personally. I thought they were fine. But when they did zoom out, or there was like just a lot of stuff happening, war scenes and stuff like that, if there was a lot of stuff happening, it really did not look good. And maybe that's just an issue with, the time that it was developed, just because looking at it, the first season was from 2008 to 2009. So it's pretty old.
Yeah, I agree. And like I think there's one scene in particular that sticks out for me where they're like running across a bridge and it's like zoomed out and it's showing them, and just the way that their legs are moving, you're like, okay, yeah, that's like almost like a video game, do you know what I mean? Which is like very reminiscent of the animation style as well.
100%. I think I know the exact scene that you're talking about. It just looked, I don't know, like sometimes it was just weird, it just didn't work.
I will say what like this show in general does a really good job of is like, I feel like in some of the earlier episodes that we recorded, like especially I'm thinking the Attack of the Clones episode, there was a lot of things that we were like, well, I wish we knew the story behind this guy, or I wish we got some more background information on this guy or whatever. And this, I feel like we're going to eat our words a little bit because like this series provides that background information that was like lacking in the movies.
100%. Yeah. There was a few Jedi Masters that, like, you recognized from the movies where they had full episodes about. I can't remember the one guy's name.
I think I know.
But
Kit Fisto?
Yes, it's Fisto. Yes. It's Kit Fisto. I love that episode. I thought that was an awesome episode. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And he was cool. His voice was amazing. That I actually have a note in my little notebook about how much I love his voice. But
yeah,
just the fact that they provided just more background to that, I loved.
Yeah. No, 100%. And like, that actually, I wrote down just like my top 3 favorite episodes, and that was in the top 3 favorite episodes. It's called The Lair of Grievous, but it's just Kit Fisto and his Padawan Mon Calamari, which I think is the best name for like that fish race, like General Akbar kind of thing. Like, come on.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was such a good episode. It was like, and it gave a lot of context to General Grievous as well, because that was like kind of a darker, creepier episode almost, like tonally at least.
Yeah, when I think it was his doctor, he's like, well, what, he asked him, why did you take the enhancements or something like that. Like there was like you said, it provided a little bit of info on him, which I loved. And yeah, the tone was definitely a little bit darker. When his former Padawan, now Knight, ends up dying. Spoilers, people. If you didn't think there were spoilers coming, you're listening to a podcast that's entirely spoilers. But anyways, but when he died, I was like, oh shit! Like they're not pulling back any punches.
Yeah, no, and there's a lot of kind of moments like that. It's something that I found while watching the whole series is that it really kind of brings the whole Clone War, like I guess that it's obvious because that's the name of the fucking animated series, but it puts like the Clone War into like a real context, right? It's not like this epic thing that kind of happened. It's like showing you all sides of the war and like the costs of war and stuff like that.
100%. And I really like that. Like I would argue that it's almost, if you're really into Star Wars, it's almost required watching for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I would agree. And it's kind of unfortunate that like this is how they did it, right? Because I feel like a lot of people kind of miss out on the Clone Wars unless you are like the most hardcore of Star Wars fans, because essentially it is a children's cartoon.
Yeah, oh, totally, yeah. I mean, I never tuned into it. I didn't even, like, I had a vague knowledge that it was happening, but I thought, I was 18 at the time when it came out, and I'm like, I'm too old for this shit. Do you know what I mean? Like, standard 18-year-old attitude. But, I mean, I wish that they would have, I don't know, maybe done better advertising or something, because it is really, I don't know, I really, really liked it. And provides a ton more context for sure.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. I found myself so many times, like, like as episodes were happening or whatever, or things would be revealed, and like I would be like almost on the edge of my seat. You know, I was like super like I guess absorbed by what was happening and like invested in the characters and the stories that were being told. And it's just like when stuff would happen that I didn't expect, I would literally be like, "Oh shit!" Like I would say it out loud and stuff because I was so invested. I found myself enjoying it and like thinking multiple times while watching it, just like how cool this is.
100%. And I love some of like the little one-off characters that they introduced. There's a Jedi Master. Her official name is Luminara Unduli. She's in that episode where they're escorting Newt Gunray back to the Republic or somewhere, I can't remember. And then Asajj Ventress attacks them and tries to free Newt Gunray. And I love that character. I thought she was awesome. You know, kind of standard. She just like really gave me a Jedi vibe. You know, like calm, collected. You know, not letting her anger take a hold of her. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I that was a good episode because it was also because Ahsoka Tano was in it, and then yeah, the enemy was Ventress, so it was kind of like a girl power episode almost.
Yeah, for sure, 100%.
But I get what you mean. Like, yes, she is like the epitome of the Jedi. Like, you watch that episode and you're kind of like whereas some of the other Jedi Masters don't do it as well. She like embodies like the good Jedi, like the proper Jedi who actually kind of follows the rules of the Jedi Order.
100%. And you see a little bit of Ahsoka being kind of I don't know, maybe against that perfect embodiment of it, like when she's threatening Newt Gunray with her lightsaber, and then Luminar's like, you know, hey, don't do that or whatever. Like I loved it. I thought that was a fantastic episode, and I think that's going to hint, you know, a little bit towards her character arc as a whole. I mean, we'll see. There's still 7 more seasons, but I think that's the direction that it's headed. Maybe.
Yeah. No, I agree. Because I think that, like, I think especially towards, like, the later seasons, I think it kind of starts to revolve more around Ahsoka and less around Anakin and Obi-Wan. And I feel like because Ahsoka Tano is Anakin's Padawan, and Anakin obviously is kind of that rebel Jedi who eventually becomes Darth Vader, right? Mm-hmm. That especially in this episode with Luminara. Okay, that it provides kind of that balance that the Ahsoka Tano's character would need just by being Anakin's Padawan.
100%. And actually, that's something I wanted to talk about too. Was like, at first, I found Ahsoka really annoying. Initially, I was like, I hate this character. But as it went on, I found myself really liking her more and more. I don't know if it's just the writing or that's the intention with her character arc. She just like she almost starts to take on, like, you know how throughout the series Anakin and Obi-Wan kind of like talk shit to each other. She starts to do the same thing to Anakin, which I loved. I thought that was so funny.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. And I always find myself questioning, like, especially when I'm watching cartoons and stuff, like, I'll have thoughts like that and I'll be like, oh, like, this very specific thing happens, but it, like, and I read into it a bunch. I'm like, am I reading into this too much, or is this just a fucking kid's cartoon? Do you know what I mean?
100%. I know exactly what you mean, and I don't know.
Yeah.
I have no idea. You know, the prime cartoon for that is Avatar, frankly.
Yeah. Actually, I was just thinking that as well. It's like, it's you watch it and you're like, okay, did the animators mean for this to be like this deep and like this dissectable, or is it just there because they needed something to fill in the space or whatever, you know?
100%. And you know, maybe a bit of both, you know?
Yeah. And it could go to that whole Jordan Peterson thing about whereas like maybe they're not actually consciously thinking of it and it is coming through the subconscious, and it's just like these are stories that are so like I guess ingrained in our genetics and just like in our society and our culture that like just they naturally come out in that way.
100%. I could totally see that for sure.
Yeah.
And I don't know. That's maybe a broader conversation compared to what we're discussing. But yeah, I think that, you know, if you can look into that stuff and it's there, even if it was intended or not, it's still valid. I don't know if that makes sense, but
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. And I think that it's just the Star Wars universe in general is very good for that. And I what I really like about this series is that I guess I kind of said that the story revolves around Anakin and Obi-Wan, but really when you look at it, it doesn't actually.
No.
It revolves around the entire war. Like it's you have Anakin and Obi-Wan episodes, you have with all the Jedi, and then you have Padme episodes and
episodes with the clones, right?
and with the clones. Actually, that's another one of my top 3 episodes. It's called Rookies. It's like episode 5 or something, but it's the first episode where it's just all about the clones.
Yes, love that episode too. I thought it was great.
Yeah, it's like there's no Jedi in it whatsoever, or if there are, they like come in at the end to save the clones or whatever. But it's like it just shows you again. It kind of humanizes the war a little bit, and it shows you from a perspective that isn't like I don't know, these superpowered generals who with lightsabers, like they obviously are going to see war differently than the troops on the front lines with the blasters, right?
100%, 100%. Yeah, and there was an episode where one of the clones ends up betraying his troop, or just betraying the Republican general, and I thought that was really cool, really really cool, because I think he said something like, they can provide me something that you guys can't, and that's freedom. And I thought that was really, really, I thought that was an awesome line.
Yeah, no, that episode was also really cool.
Yeah.
And it shows you I think Rex and Cody are the 2 commanders.
Yes.
Yeah, those guys are sick.
Yeah, they're awesome. And we still have 7 seasons worth of them, I'm hoping, right? Like, it's just going to get deeper, which is amazing. I love that.
Yeah, yeah. And like I'm pretty sure that they're making content about aren't they doing a show about a squadron of clones who don't obey Order 66?
I think so. It's probably be about them.
Yeah, because I could see that being like I was actually thinking as I was watching that one episode in particular, like how cool that content would be, because like you see the relationship between the clones and the Jedi, and it's like a very like cordial, like the Jedi actually give a fuck about the clones. You know what I mean? They treat them as like they're humans, right? And they are humans, but like they don't just treat them as like these faceless,
robots.
Expendable troops.
Yeah,
robots. They actually give a fuck about the men and their losses and stuff like that.
Totally. I really, really enjoyed that. And I think, again, it's going to provide more context to the war as a whole and give it a more like human face, right?
Yeah. No, I definitely agree.
Did they actually get Christopher Lee to voice Count Dooku? Because it sounds a lot like him. I feel like they did.
Yeah, it's very possible. I know they only got a couple of the original voices, and some of them are like really good. Like whoever does Obi-Wan sounds exactly like Obi-Wan.
Dude, it's crazy. I was thinking that. Like, in full honesty, I binged this whole season over the past week, pretty much, because I, like, watched a few episodes here and there, and I was like, you know what, it's better just to get all of them together so that I have a clear idea of what's happening, which kind of turned out to be pointless because there's, like, just mini arcs. But
yeah,
I watched the last episode last night, and I was like, man, he sounds so much like Ewan McGregor. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's insane. The one that I noticed didn't sound like the character at all was whoever's doing
Mace Windu.
Fuck. No, I think that's actually Samuel L. Jackson.
Is it? I didn't think he sounded like him at all. That's so weird.
From what I think he's one of the few people who actually voices himself. Yeah. I have something to say about Mace Windu, but it's the Emperor Palpatine. Whoever did Palpatine did a terrible job.
Oh yeah, really bad. Really, really bad. But he has such a unique voice, right? I guess so does Sam Jackson, so.
Yeah. Mace Windu, you get to, like, in that it's like the second last episode or whatever, or maybe like the third last episode, where Mace Windu actually comes into, like, play. But you get to see, like, I guess the power of Mace Windu. Like, I felt sometimes when, like, Anakin and Obi-Wan are fighting, it's almost like that they forget that they're Jedi.
Yes.
Like, it's like, why didn't you just use your force powers to like catch that or whatever? Or why didn't you do Jedi things? It's like, but then you see Mace Windu in that final or that ending episode or whatever near the end, and he doesn't like, he just like, oh, I'll just like force power these guys across the bridge while I also flip around on all this other stuff and slash this guy with my lightsaber, and then I'll force jump over there and we'll all be fine. You know what I mean? He like uses his full Jedi power.
Totally agree. Totally agree with you on that one. It's like, yeah, like you said, I felt like Anakin and Obi-Wan, but I always kind of feel like this with even the movies. Like, I never really feel like you get to see a full, like a Jedi doing its full thing. Do you know what I mean? There's only like one or two times where you're like, holy shit. And the times that I can think of are when Yoda fights Emperor Palpatine, and you get to see him do all of his crazy shit.
Agreed.
And when else? Maybe when Yoda fights Dooku. But there's only a few times like that, right? Like, there's just not many times where you get to see the full power. And yeah, I would totally agree. This one felt like one of those times. It looks like it's the second last episode, I believe.
Yeah, I think it's the second last episode. It's the one where they're on Ryloth.
Yes. What did you think of the little arc with that evil doctor genius guy who makes the virus?
Okay.
I'm curious.
It was interesting. At first, I really still like Jar Jar Binks is still the worst character.
I have that in my notes, man. I'm not even kidding you.
Yeah, so do I. I have it in my notes as well. I wrote it down. Jar Jar Binks is actually the worst, even in cartoon form.
Yes. Oh my god. Like the very. I think it's episode number 8. It's called Bombad Jedi, where everybody thinks that he's a Jedi. I hated that episode. I hated it. It's so stupid.
Yeah, no, it wasn't super great. And like every time it was like, and every time it came up, it was like, it was Jar Jar Binks, Padme, and C-3PO. And those were the characters, and they would be in episodes together. So as soon as I saw the beginning of that episode, I was like, oh, fuck, this is going to suck. Like,
yep. As soon as he becomes even relevant in the episode, it's like, ugh.
Yeah, I did not, I don't know. It wasn't the greatest arc for me.
No.
I also kind of felt that, like, whereas in the beginning of the season, I really liked Anakin as a character. You get to see, like, his actual, like, pilot abilities and his, like, kind of generalship and stuff like that. But in this arc particularly, he kind of reverts back to that, like, whiny kind of, like, self-absorbed, one-track mind kind of character, right? Because he's only caring about Padme and like saving her, which is understandable, but it's just like it makes him, I don't know, I don't like that side of Anakin's character, I guess.
Yeah, totally agree. And I wonder how it's going to look as it continues, right? Because I wonder if, like, you know, if they're going to show his character progression towards episode 3 Anakin. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I totally know what you mean, because it's like, in theory, I guess it should get more and more like that. He should get more and more possessed and like kind of exhibit more and more of those negative traits, because he is
100%. Yes.
Yeah, and I wonder if it's going to explore like a little bit more in depth the relationship between Anakin and Palpatine.
I hope so. I hope it does. Maybe I wasn't paying close enough attention or something, I don't know. I never really caught any moments of Palpatine doing evil Palpatine stuff, except maybe once or twice. Did you? Or no?
Not really.
Like, it always felt like he was on our side, you know?
Yeah. And it at the very least, I think maybe it could be said that just through he kind of always is on the side of like the bureaucracy of government.
Yes.
So it's like he never wants to act, and he's always like, oh, we need to run it through the Senate. So maybe just by doing that and playing to, like, I guess the natural bureaucracies of government, it could be kind of construed as maybe being evil, but he was never like overtly evil.
Yeah, just the inaction, right, could be evil, I guess. I get what you're saying.
Yeah. Yeah, but he was always on the side of inaction, I found, for sure.
There's what was the other arc? When they go on to that ice world and they have all those aliens.
Oh, that was
I love that
was
arc.
like that's in the we've now touched on all of my top 3 episodes.
Yes,
That was the
100%, right? Like those are all the good ones for sure. I'm glad that we agree on that because it's in no doubt in my mind that those are the good ones because yeah, I love that episode. I love that senator lady. I thought she was really good. You know, at first she even experiences character growth throughout that little time. Like she kind of stands down to that. I don't know what his name is. The Grand. I don't know, chieftain,
Marshal, or whatever.
yeah, well, I don't remember what it was, but she stands down to him, and then at the end, she like stands up to him and forces him out, and then takes over the peace negotiations. Right, I love that episode, or that arc, I guess.
Yeah, that was a super good. I think it was two episodes maybe, but like just the world itself was super cool, and to see like an alien culture that is
Primitive,
not a spacefaring like so. Yeah, it's primitive, right?
Yeah, 100%.
But like then they're still like willing to go to war, to like get these people who have lasers and like hover bikes, and they just have no problems like attacking ththese dudes with like rocks and arrows and shit.
Yeah, exactly. And they did really well with the rocks and the arrows, I felt.
Yeah, for sure. In a long drawn out war, they would obviously get crushed because like they would just shoot them from space or something. But like from like dueling with the landing party and stuff, they were actually like a threat, which was cool to see.
Yeah, I loved that. I thought it was really good. I hated that chairman. It's Chairman Cho was his name. I hated him from the get-go. And I think that was obviously intentional, but oh man, I hated him.
Yeah. He's kind of like your pompous, I know everything kind of governmental character.
100%.
Yeah.
It's too bad because they went from that arc, right? Or at least I think they went from that arc to the virus arc immediately after, and I was like, oh, this is a bit of a downgrade, right?
Yeah, that one wasn't super great. I do like to see the episodes with Padme because it brings some like competency into Padme's character.
Totally.
Yeah, she's not like this damsel in distress character, which I think Star Wars in general does a really good job of. You see it with like Princess Leia, right? She's the original.
Yes.
She's not this helpless damsel, and I think Padme kind of like carries that tradition forward, I guess.
Totally. And you gotta respect that, right? Like, kind of did that thing before a lot of other people did that, which is kind of impressive.
Yeah.
I think that George Lucas was like really sexist on set, but I think that was just the 70s and how the 70s were.
Yeah, no, that's I totally get that. Cool.
Sorry, go ahead. No, you go ahead.
I was just gonna say another really cool arc that I really enjoyed was the arc with the Lermans, the little like lemur people.
Yes, I love that arc too. Actually, it didn't feel like super. I don't know. As serious as maybe the other arcs, but I just enjoyed it. I just thought it was fun.
Yeah, no, I agree, and it kind of again shows, I guess, kind of your I don't know, your kind of classic war scenario of a neutral planet, right? They're pacifists. They don't want to like get involved on either side of the war, and eventually the war comes to them whether they like it or not, because the separatists are dicks and they're like, we need to test our weapons on this like unsuspecting civilization, I guess.
On these poor lemur people, like, good lord.
Yeah. Fun fact, actually, George Takei does the voice of the bad guy in that episode.
Oh, really? That makes sense. He kind of sounds like him, totally.
Yeah. But I actually had like a really crazy thought about just like Star Wars in general, because I think I was high when I watched this story arc. But there was like this very profound line when the elder of the village is talking to the Jedi. And he's like explaining why he's not on the Jedi side. And it's like, yes, you say that you're guardians or whatever, but like you come in and you bring violence here and you treat us as if we're, expendable and stuff like that. Essentially, I'm paraphrasing totally because I watched it like a couple weeks ago, but I basically had the thought about this, like the whole Star Wars as a whole, and basically like that's like the Jedi themselves, like they represent order, right? And then the Sith represent chaos, and it's just like this constant struggle between order and chaos, and it's like vying, like the good point is when they both exist in like balance, you know what I mean?
100%. 100%. And that's like an argument that I think a lot of the Star Wars people sort of point towards, is that like, the Force is supposed to be balanced. It's not supposed to be just full dark or full light, right? Like you're always supposed to have some kind of conflict between the Jedi and the Sith, and like the true Jedi are quote unquote gray Jedi, right?
Yeah.
You know, and there's like arguments that Luke starts to head in that direction after the third movie and blah blah blah. So I don't know. It's interesting, super interesting that you bring that up, because I totally agree.
Yeah, and I think that this is like the prequels are all about the order side of things being dominant, right? Like the Jedi Order is kind of in control, and the Sith were thought to be extinct and stuff like that. And then it's the war that happens there. And then the original trilogy is about chaos being in control. Like the actually, now that I'm thinking about it, you could actually even flip those. Like
I was just thinking that, because the Empire, right?
Yeah, the Empire is very like order driven, and like maybe they're both order.
I don't know. Just different? I have no idea.
Yeah, just different sides of the same coin. Anyways, wow, too much thinking about this. But then I guess the sequel movies, the sequel trilogy, the newest ones could be about the gray Jedi coming into prominence, I guess, because I would say that Luke Skywalker kind of embodies the gray Jedi, and then he passes that on to Rey as well.
Yeah, exactly. Those movies are so disappointing.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that later. But
you don't get that at all from the new trilogy. It's just me reading into it.
100%, 100%.
Yeah.
What did you think of the Ryloth arc?
I
thought it was I'll give my thoughts first. Honestly, I thought it was kind of boring, and like for the kind of final main arc of this series, I thought it was okay. Like it was fine.
Yeah. The one thing I did like about it is because we already talked about it, Mace Windu's entire role in that arc was really cool.
Yes.
I found it interesting that also like the Twi'leks, they seem to be like maybe not even a spacefaring civilization. It seems like maybe that they have just been visited by other spacefaring civilizations who have like brought them into like the Galactic Council and stuff like that. But it doesn't really seem like they're too technology savvy or anything like that.
No, they seem again fairly primitive, not as primitive as those other dudes, but fairly primitive, I guess. Or maybe they're just not a wealthy planet or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
But you don't really see. I guess you see Twi'leks outside of their main planet, like Ryloth, but not.
Yeah, but
go ahead.
I was going to say the only time that you see them is they're either slaves, Jedi, or on the Council.
100%. 100%.
You don't really just see them kind of like out in the open or in the wild, right?
No. There's, it's either Aayla Secura, that one Jedi, right? The blue one.
Yeah.
And then the council dude, who's the giant fat council dude, if I'm thinking of the right guy. And then, they're slaves. That's it. You're right. You're totally right.
So it's like, it just, I thought that it was kind of interesting that it showed kind of that side, I guess, of the whole universe. It's like, just the concept is kind of interesting. It's like, yes, there are these spacefaring civilizations, and they don't have something like the Prime Directive like they have in Star Trek, right?
Yeah.
So these other spacefaring civilizations go in and they're like, well, we're superior to you, so we can either make you slaves or exploit your planet for resources or whatever, right?
Yeah, take your pick. It's bad and bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I thought I just thought that concept was interesting, but I do agree that as like kind of the final arc, really, it was a little bit of a letdown, I guess.
Totally. I think so. I did like that they brought in, it looks like the character's name is Wat Tambor as the general. He was that guy from the second movie who's got like he's part of the Techno Union, I think.
Yeah.
I thought that was awesome. They gave him a little bit more context, right?
Yeah, no, I thought that as I was watching that, I definitely picked up on that, and I thought that was really cool.
I like that they gave General Grievous more context, as you said. Still super fucking cool character.
Yeah, I actually like General Grievous so much more as a character now, because he's like that much more kind of creepy and like sinister in a way.
Yeah, exactly. And like, why does he just have this lair? You know, like,
Yeah.
What was he before? Maybe they'll give us more information. I hope that they do, because I want to know like what his deal was before. You know?
Yeah, no, definitely, because like there's just like spare body parts of General Grievous in his lair too. It's really creepy.
Yeah. One of the things that I kept thinking throughout the whole series or throughout the episodes as I watched them was like, why hasn't this been made into a fucking video game? You know, each arc could be a little mini story. You could do it linear. You could do it open world. I don't know. I don't care. But why hasn't it been made into a game yet?
Yeah, I agree. Like it would make it. You could do like such a cool like open world RPG, kind of like almost even like Assassin's Creed style video game, right? Where like you could decide if you wanted to help the Separatists or help the clones in the Jedi Order, and like I don't know who you would be. Maybe you're a bounty hunter, or maybe like the possibilities are endless. You could be a rogue Jedi or a rogue Sith or whatever, or a bounty hunter.
It feels like it's been wasted. You know what I mean? I was looking this up earlier, prior to this, because I was like, I wonder how long EA has exclusive license to Star Wars. And the first result was that Ubisoft, the people who make Assassin's Creed, are going to be making an open world Star Wars game, probably released 2023, something like that.
Yeah, I actually heard about that when it happened. Yeah, EA lost the license to Star Wars. So.
Yeah, well, they ruined it.
Thank God. They all the Star Wars games that they have made. I haven't played the what's it called, the something Temple or Fallen.
Jedi Fallen Order. It's not bad. I liked it.
Okay. Yeah, I heard good things about that one, but I mean, they didn't do a good job with Battlefront. They butchered both of them that they tried to remake, and they also didn't. They remade Rogue Squadron, but I also heard that it wasn't great. So.
I didn't even touch it. I had no idea that they remade it, or they did remake it, and I immediately thought, it's made by EA. I don't care. You know?
Yeah, I think they kind of went in the same way that they did with the Battlefronts, where it's like a lot of online play and like I don't know, that's just not my thing. I just want like stupid solo play stories that I can relax to, kind of. So
1,000%. Like, I still stand by the fact that the Knights of the Old Republic games are the greatest Star Wars games that have ever been released and probably will ever be released. But I went back and replayed the first one, I don't know, I want to say a couple years ago, something like that. And you know, it could just use a facelift, right? Like, they just need a new style of game like that.
Yeah, I agree. And like you could even do that, just continue on with that same do what Dragon Age did, you know what I mean? Because it's like it's made by the same people. They're both BioWare games, so just do what Dragon Age Inquisition did for the Dragon Age series, and just put a Star Wars skin over it. That would be so tight.
Yeah, exactly. It would be amazing. But I don't know. Hopefully the dark ages of Star Wars video games will be coming to a close soon, because so excited for Battlefront, played it, was super disappointed. I just don't, like, I personally don't have the patience to deal with online shooters anymore. You know, when I had tons of time to dedicate to it, I would do it and I would get really good. But now I get killed a million times because I'm not, 15, and I don't have a ton of time to just dedicate to it, right? So.
Yeah. I also find them just like they're just more stressful than solo single player games, right? It's like because you're facing other people and you're like, well, I don't want to be bad because people will get mad at me or whatever.
Yeah.
So like when I go to play a video game, I just want like a nice. I don't mind a challenging game. Like I like Dark Souls games and stuff like that for sure. But I just want to like do it at my own time and kind of zone out.
Yes, I totally get exactly what you're saying.
A good story is more important to me than like the sickest gameplay. I guess.
Me too. That's why I loved Witcher 3. Story phenomenal, right? Like that is arguably one of the biggest things that draws me to games. Yeah. I mean, anyway, that was a bit of a side tangent, but I kept thinking like, why haven't they done this yet? There's so much content, and they've just been sitting on it, you know.
Yeah. And actually, one of my favorite Star Wars games, Star Wars Republic Commando, actually is set in this era, right? Because it's about a troop of clones.
Mm-hmm. Love that game.
So, like, yeah, like if they even made something like, I would totally be down for that too. Another Republic Commando, like that was such a good game.
I know. I think it might be in the pipeline, but who knows, right? It's crazy. I think with The Mandalorian coming out and now having watched this was something I was thinking of as I was watching it, but I feel like Star Wars is just way better suited to television and not movies. Like it lets you have longer story arcs. It lets you explore more characters. You don't need to condense like a ton of world building into 2 hours or 110 minutes or whatever, right? Like it's just, I don't know. I think it works way better as television. And the fact that we have so many IPs coming out now from Disney that are all television, all done by the Mandalorian people, I'm like, this is amazing.
Yeah, we might be entering like a golden age of Star Wars, right?
Yes, 1,000%.
And I definitely agree with you. Like, I feel like my favorite Star Wars content is The Mandalorian. It's so good. And it's just because it is, like, exactly what you said. It gives the story the necessary time to unfold, and it gives it the depth that is needed when you're introducing all these characters and races and planets and stuff like that, where you just, like, when they're just thrown at you, it's kind of hard. It's like you're coming into the story in the middle or something like that.
Uh-huh. Exactly. I like you said, I think we're entering a golden age, hopefully, for it. Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
And it'll just keep getting better. I mean, I think it's been proven that, the dudes who did The Mandalorian know how to make a Star Wars piece, so they should be able to continue doing it.
Yeah, no, I agree. And like honestly, one of my favorite movies is Rogue One. And like that is a story that could have been told in an hour and a half, right? We kind of all know the story from, the original trilogy and stuff like that. But that was like the perfect thing. You focus on this very one specific thing that happened during this big, long campaign, and you made a movie about it, and it was great, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, you introduce all these characters, and then, spoiler alert, but all those characters fucking die at the end, and you're like, okay, well, that was...
Well, this is wrapped up into a tight little bow,
Yeah, it was wrapped up nicely, and it was like, okay, cool. Like, there's no questions. Like, it was just good.
I'm hoping that season 2 of this animated series is even better. Like, lots of times for these series, or pretty much any television series, the first season's a bit of a test, right? And then if they hit success, they'll really start dumping resources into it. So I'm hoping number 2 we'll see a little bit better animation, a little bit better writing. I mean, who knows? But hopefully.
Yeah, no, I agree. And like usually the golden zone for a TV series is like seasons 2, 3, 4-ish, depending on how long it goes on.
Totally.
So, I'm hoping that we see that as well.
I was trying to think. I don't think there's much else I have to say about this first season. I mean, other than wanting, kind of just more overarching story, which again, I hope they bring into the second season. And I hope that they explore, Ahsoka and Anakin's bond a little bit more. But other than that, I mean, I would, if I were to give this a rating out of 10, which I don't even know if we've done in this podcast series yet or not, but if I were to give it a rating out of 10, I'd probably give it like a solid 8, 7.5 maybe.
Yeah, I should. Yeah, that's the number I had in my head. I was just thinking about it. I was like, if I were to give it it was like 8. Eight's a solid number for the first season.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, on average, all the episodes are pretty good. There's a few bunk,
Yeah.
Arcs, a few characters I don't like. Jar Jar.
Yeah.
The female Jar Jar, didn't like her either. But like other than that, it was pretty good.
Yeah. The only thing I do have to, I guess I got a couple things is one, I do like how they explored like the multidimensionality of like space combat.
Yes, they did a great job at that.
Yeah, where like they came in with the Star Destroyer or the Proto Star Destroyer, the Republic cruisers, I guess they are, but they like flipped it onto its like side to like shield itself from all the fire, and then like release the fighters around it to destroy the other cruisers.
Yes.
I thought that was just like a really cool concept because now they're taking space combat and it's not like sea combat where they come at each other head on. It's like you can come at them from like any direction. Right?
Yeah, any angle, which is way more accurate.
Yeah. So I thought that was kind of neat, and I just wanted to say that it's kind of interesting that the majority of the arcs that I really, really enjoyed were the arcs that didn't revolve around like kind of your main characters like Obi-Wan and Anakin. Like, yes, they had some good episodes, but the funner arcs for me when they kind of got away from the main storyline that is kind of known.
When they played more supporting characters, 100%.
Yeah.
100. I hope we get to see more Kit Fisto. I gotta be honest with you. I love him as a character.
Yeah. I thought Kit Fisto was super cool. He's like super chill, and he's another one of the Jedi who kind of he embodies what a Jedi should be.
Yes,
you know?
100%. 100%. He just seems like a nice guy.
He seems chill. Yeah.
I don't know about you, but during the first first episode of that arc, when we first meet his apprentice or former apprentice, I was getting vibes that he was going to be evil. I don't know about you. For some reason, it just felt that way. Maybe, I don't know. It just felt that way.
You know, I can kind of see where you're coming from. He was very arrogant.
Yes.
You know? It gave off very like kind of insolent to a degree.
Yes.
He was actually very Anakin-esque. You know what I mean?
100%. Yes. Actually, yeah. Very, very much so. And then he got his good, unfortunately.
Yeah. And it's actually kind of interesting to think about. It's like if the Jedi were allowed to continue on with this war, actually how many of them might have turned over to the dark side, to the Sith, right? Because like war is going to bring out the worst in people, even Jedi. And the only reason that the Jedi don't get to go forward really is because of Order 66 and they all get murdered. So
yeah, 100%.
So, I mean, if it was, like, left to their own devices, maybe more of them would have joined the dark side.
Maybe they'll eventually do something in, like, the old Republic era where there was, like, a full-on Sith war.
Yeah.
And they'll explore that. Because that would be awesome. Like, another good turns bad or bad turns good type thing.
Yeah, I would honestly, like... Right now, with the way that Star Wars content is going, like they could do anything, and I'd probably be super down for it because they have so many options. So.
100%. I tagged you in something in the Discord, and it looks like they're releasing another animated series. Did you see that?
No. Because I think there's there's one with BB-8 in it, isn't there?
I don't know. I'm not sure. This one's called Star Wars: The Bad Batch.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh, is that the ones who were going against Order 66, I wonder? I don't know.
Maybe. That would be cool if they did it in kind of a like an animated Clone Wars style vibe. That I'd be down with that.
Yeah, if you look in the little text section for podcast, it's in there. I sent it to you. And I tagged a few other people, but I thought that was interesting.
Yeah. No, that is super sweet.
I'll start streaming May the 4th.
Oh.
Shut up. I didn't even realize that.
Oh, shit, it's coming out on Tuesday.
Yeah. Oh, I might start watching that on Tuesday, actually.
Yeah, that's cool. That actually looks like that's exactly what that might be about.
I think it is, yeah. Man, I'm so far behind on updates on the content that's coming out, you know?
Yeah.
The only things, I've seen that graphic that I think it's Lucasfilm's released, and it's like 12 shows you know,
Yeah.
and it's like the Bounty Hunter show, the Obi-Wan show, the Ahsoka Tano show, the in-person one.
Yeah.
Oh, side note, her head is fucking gigantic. It is huge.
Yeah, she's got a big head.
It's massive. Like the in-person one from The Mandalorian. Again, sorry, spoilers, people. Get over it. The actual person one, her head is fucking huge. Like it's huge.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it's like not even like, you know, you have your Twi'leks, right? But it's so much bigger than even like the Twi'leks.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
The other thing I wanted to, before we end this, I wanted to talk about Asajj Ventress. I love her as a character. I think she's awesome.
A sweet character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any
a great villain.
Yeah, anything that she's in, she elevates, it feels like to me. So
yeah. I also like the little I don't know, it's like almost flirtatious that Obi-Wan and her have.
Yes. I love that too. I think it's awesome.
Yeah, it kind of again adds a little bit more depth even to Obi-Wan's character.
Yeah, and he's one of the best characters in the Star Wars universe. Hence the whole new series being released about him.
Oh, I'm fucking stoked for that. That's going to be good.
I know. I think it'll be a few years or a year or two before we get it, but always something to look forward to, right?
Yeah, exactly. I just have one more. I just want to know what your kind of opinions are of how they ended the season, I guess, with them busting out Zero the Hutt, who they imprisoned in the Clone Wars movie.
I liked it.
Yeah.
I liked it. I'm looking forward to that whole season. I was just scrolling down on the wiki here, and it says season 2 is called Rise of the Bounty Hunters, which is something I'm totally down with. If I could just watch an entire Star Wars series about bounty hunters, I would. And it sounds like this is going to scratch that itch. Plus, we have the new thing coming out.
Yeah. Oh, no, that's super cool. Yeah. I feel like it's going to, again, explore kind of get away from the Jedi side of things and explore kind of maybe a bit more of the underbelly side of like a Clone War, I guess.
I hope so. I really liked that. I don't even remember the guy's name, but the main bounty hunter guy with the hat. I really liked him. I thought he was super cool.
Yeah. He was like kind of like a cowboy, which I thought was neat.
Yes. I mean, it's space western, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's so true. I'm actually excited to see Zero the Hutt a little bit more. I like him as a character, and I think if he's kind of going to be the enemy or the main kind of antagonist in season 2, I would be down with that. Me too. And again, I'm hoping that there's a few longer arcs, but if they stick with this mini arc thing, I'll be fine with it, you know? Yeah, it would be cool if they did have like a big goal that they were working towards, and then like they played within the mini arcs within that overarching goal, I guess, like a good D&D campaign.
Yeah, exactly. If they do that, I'll be very happy, but who knows?
Yeah, exactly. I guess we'll see. I'm excited to find out, so... this was good, and I hope that you, the listener, enjoyed another episode of In a Galaxy Not So Far Away. Thank you very much for listening, everybody.
Yes, thank you. And until next time.
Until next time.
All right. See ya.
If you like this episode of In a Galaxy Not So Far Away, why not leave a review? Whether you're listening on iTunes, Stitcher, or Google Podcasts, ratings and reviews are huge. Help us to get through those Sith-like algorithms to reach the most amount of glorious Star Wars fans that we possibly can. If you would like up-to-date information on this podcast, check out our social media. You can find us on Instagram at In a Galaxy Not So Far Away Pod. If you're interested in some of the other shows that the Froggy Style Productions podcast network produces, check out their social media. You can find them at Froggy Style Productions on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. For more ways to support the show, visit fsproductions.ca.